Would you like to win some free fishing tackle? Well, this month we just gave away a brand new spinning reel, a one-of-a-kind spinning reel. This next month we're giving away a ton more tackle. We do it every single month. It's just one of the perks of being an insider member. For you current members, make sure to go log into the community. That's community.saltstrong.com. That's the private community we built. We've just added a lot of new stuff in there if you haven't been in there in a while. And there's a new fishing report going up about every 5 minutes. We have regional tips in there. We have some new regional guides that we are adding in as well to share their smart fishing game plans. And of course, if you're not a member, what the heck are you waiting on? Someone to take you by the hand, help you save time and money every single month on your fishing. We're the only online fishing club that guarantees you will catch more fish and save money on your tackle, or it's completely free. Go to saltstrong.com right now to sign up. And current members, I'll see you in the community.
In my soul. Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, like diamonds, back again. This is going to be a fun one. Got my friend Captain Mike Goodwine, a.k.a. Blackneck Adventures, fresh off of this Bassmaster Redfish Cup tournament, sitting in a Walmart parking lot, because that's the only place you can get reception in your little town there in Georgia. What's up, dude?
What's going on? And I apologize for being in the Walmart parking lot, but where I'm hunting at, we have no service. So it's one of those places you got to stand on a rock and hold the phone in one hand and balance yourself to get a signal. And I didn't want to mess this podcast up. So I hopped in the truck, ran to town, and here we go.
I've had to do that as well. We got some family property up there in Georgia, in between Macon and Savannah. And it's the same deal. No service. You can't get internet there, nothing. And you got to go to the Walmart there. That's the only place that you can do anything.
Yep. And then sometimes it could be a good thing because I basically live on my phone with my business. And so to disconnect sometimes just to defrag my brain is actually awesome. And if I wasn't in the woods, I wouldn't put the phone down. So sometimes they have to go somewhere to force us to disconnect for a little bit.
That's a lesson in and of itself, my friend. All right, so let's talk about this Bassmaster Redfish Cup. There's probably a lot of people don't even know about it, but it was one of the most viewed things last year. This is the second year they've done it. Bassmaster obviously has been around since the 60s, and there's been a massive movement for just getting more people out there fishing. They also have the Bassmaster Classic. They came up with this Redfish Cup. So talk about that for the people that don't even know what it is and how to win it and all that great stuff. What were the rules?
Okay, so last year was the first annual Bassmaster Redfish Cup, and what they do is you have to 5 teams qualify. 5 teams they qualify, and then they have an invite list where they invite Bass pros, guys that's fishing the elite, guys that has won the Bassmaster Classic, some heavy names in bass fishing, and they take those guys and they pair them with a redfish guy. So I got invited, and they paired me with Brandon Polinick. So, and then it was last year the purse was $50,000. And the response from it was so huge from last year. They bought it back again this year, and the purse was $100,000. And just a quick note, everybody have heard of the Bassmaster Classic. Well, the Redfish Cup last year actually got more views than the Bassmaster Classic on TV.
Wow.
It's pretty impressive.
That's huge.
So, and I think the reason is because you got 2 worlds colliding, saltwater and freshwater. You got a freshwater guy and a saltwater guy on a lake we've never been to before. trying to catch redfish, and it's quite entertaining. I don't know if y'all saw it. I like to have fun. Brandon didn't know what he was getting into, but he found out who Mike Goodwine is. Yes, sir.
And so, similar to bass fishing, the rules are you have to use lures. You can't go out there and you can't lug around your big old cast net. You're using lures, slot redfish only, and it's the best two for the day for 3 days. Yep.
Best two each day, and the slot limit there was 20 to 28. And my goal, my goal was to win it. I wanted to win it because I'm competitive. I like to win. But my main goal that I made for myself, I said, I gotta make the stage. I gotta win 2 fish each day. That was my goal. And we accomplished that. But during practice, I was thinking, oh man, this probably ain't gonna happen because we had a cold front come through and it was nasty, man. So with the weather being bad, I have never been there before. My partner had never been there before. We both was 2 fish out of water, but we figured it out. By the time the tournament came, we had a game plan and we bought 2 fish to the scales each day.
Yeah, and you guys did quite well. And I can you only imagine, right, going to a brand new place with real money on the line, 100,000, and dude, you're in your foul weather gear. Oh, it was blowing like almost like a tropical storm. It was nuts.
Yeah.
So that first, I watched I had it on a second screen while I was trying to work and not laugh too hard. You get up there on the stage that first day and the announcer, he's used to a bass tournament's not really know what to expect. You start talking about dropping poop off in your pants or something. He's dying laughing. He's not really sure. He's like, is this guy being serious? Dude, I was rolling, man. I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, and so first of all, he pronounced my name wrong, and I corrected him on that.
Yep.
And the way I corrected him, he was like, okay. And he didn't know what he was going to get into. So, but I just told him we got beat to death. We ran 38 miles one way. Yeah, 38 miles to get to where we was fishing at. And ice was more around 30. And it was 3 to 4 footers, man. And every morning, if everybody that fish, don't care who you are, if you hunt a fish that morning, you all excited, you get pumped up about fishing, you get nervous. And I didn't have time to go get the nervous out the way. So all day long, my stomach was killing me because I was on TV and trying to catch fish but it was a close one. No, I didn't poop my pants, but it was close. Real close.
It was prairie dogging over there.
Hell yeah, turtle head. But that was the thing. When he asked me how did it go, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, man, I almost crapped my pants, but it was bad. But it's pretty cool. It was fun.
All right, so let's talk about tips. So what were you like? What was the game plan? Why did you guys decide? Obviously, I assume you're looking at satellite maps and stuff. Why did you decide to go that far away? Did some other guys stay closer? Talk about the types of spots that you fish. I noticed no one was really targeting like docks and things, like that. It was talk about that more, like the types of spots that you fished and why.
Okay, so we went to where we went because of the wind, and I found out that just about everybody in the tournament was either going to go north or south. So I've always been like this. If the crowd goes to the left, I'm going to the right. I I just don't like fishing around people. And but when I say that, I just like to do my own thing and get away from people. And it, with that being said, kind of like if I go over to Weed now in Tampa and there's 100 boats over there, they could be catching 200 eggs a cast. I'm gonna go the opposite way, just because the crowds are trying to do something different.
Yep.
But back to up there, up in Texas, we found the spot that was a cove, and I did have somebody who fished it last year had told me he pre-fished up there, and it'll be out of the wind. He said it's a long drive, but it'll be out of the wind. And he didn't drop a pin in a certain area. He just told me the bait. And so we made that run to get up there to get out of the wind. We got beat up getting there, but that was the plan. And then when I got to the bay to figure out where to fish at, I used Google Earth or Google Maps. I used both of them. And if you zoom in, you could see the potholes, the grass and potholes. And that's what I look for. And then when I'm fishing somewhere new, I call it horseshoes or indentions, or some people call it like a half moon. So each shoreline, I don't care where you go, anywhere you fish, you have a hard shoreline. And then you have where the shoreline kind of go in and come back out.
Mm-hmm.
To make like a little pocket or cove or horseshoe. We got so many different names for it. But normally, if you find a little cove, if you find a hard shoreline and then it goes in and come back out, 9 times out of 10 is going to be fish holding in that area, especially if it's got potholes in it. So I don't know why it's like that, but every time I find one of those little pockets, you catch fish. And that's what we did. We worked that area, and we kind of had fished every inch in that area. So the last day, we switched up and went to another area, and the same thing. We started drifting. We got on this hard shoreline, and every time the shoreline went in and came back out, we caught fish. And we drifted probably 2 miles.
Wow.
And just catching fish on every time the shoreline dips in and out. With potholes, grassy potholes in it.
So, from our perspective, the viewer perspective, they weren't showing you live the whole time, right? They would usually kind of zoom into you, like why you guys are bringing in a nicer fish. Like, what was it like? Do you guys catch 5 fish, 10, 100? And I know you're catching trout, and I think one day you had a big flounder. Maybe it was in pre-trip, but what was it like throughout the day? We all got to see the 2 that you keep. What was the fishing like overall?
Yeah, so the first day we caught a bunch of shorts, a bunch of small ones, and he got one like 7 pounds, 6 to 7 pounds, Brandon hit, and then he boated one that was 4 pounds, and then I finally boated one that was a little over 4, so we caught that fish. And then in between those bites, it was just a bunch of rat reds out there, man. They got a bunch of rat reds. And I was throwing a spoon. And the second day, that's when we had the front come through. And I just stuck with the spoon, and I caught a bunch of rats, still was catching small fish. And he threw a chatterbait or something at the end of the day and caught a nice one. And we ended up with 2 fish, but the second day we probably caught, for a total, that day we probably caught 10 fish. First day we probably caught 25. And then
were you catching a bunch of trout in there in between too?
Yes, we was catching trout, flounder, and reds. And the trout was keyed in on the spoon, and then I um uh let me see, trying to think. Trying to think what I got that flounder on. I think it was a spoon too.
Hmm.
But no, I got the trout on the I think it was the small Slam Shady, the is it a 3 inch?
Yeah, the 3.5, the 2.0 one. Yep,
Three, yeah, yeah. On that one, the black and gold one. What is that one called?
the gold digger.
Gold digger. Yeah. And I threw the gold digger some in the on the second day. I did throw the gold digger, and the trout was all over. I mean, at one point, it was every cast. The trout was on it, and but it was real tough that day. And then the third day, man, we lost count catching fish. It was pretty awesome. I switched to the bomber, the 5 inch bomber, and
The
it
Slam
was
Shady color.
a Slam Shady color, and it was
Yep.
game on, brother. So
If only you'd used that the entire 3 days, who would have
I
happened?
know, man. That was my biggest regret of the whole tournament. I was like, if I would have just put this thing on day one, the results would have been a whole lot different. But I learned. So next year, when I'm there, that's all I'm gonna throw the whole time. So I'm gonna die by it. But and those fish was aggressively like hitting that bait, man. Almost. It reminded me of in Tampa when I'm around a schooling fish, and a lot of people probably don't know this. How you could tell if it's more than one fish in the area. This is kind of how I figured out. If you catch a redfish and you get it in and he's pretty much swallowed it, like, and I'm saying like from the first hit and you get it in and he swallowed it. 9 times out of 10 is other fish there in that area and he's competing. So he hurry up and hit it, try to swallow it, and to go after another bait, or it's a lot of bait in that area. And I've told my buddies, I was like, man, if you got one and he's pretty much tried to swallow it, he's competing with other redfish. And so when I was throwing that bomber, man, they was trying to swallow it, bro. And we was catching a lot of reds. So
Yeah.
it was just something for you people that's listening. If you fishing some bushes or anything in Tampa and you catch a red and he's pretty much, if he hit it harder and he swallowed it real quick, I ain't saying if he grab it and you don't know if he on there, swim off and then swallow it. But from that first hit and you get him in and he's pretty much tried to swallow it, he's competing with other redfish.
That's good. In that bomber, Luke and Wyatt were just filming in Texas, a little bit south of Corpus Christi, close to where you guys were. And he was with a guy the one day, and they were all using live bait under little popping corks and stuff. And the bomber caught the biggest redfish the entire trip. And those guys were like, man, what the heck is that thing? Little Dr. Juice and Slam Shady bomber. So it works. And I heard you had a funny name for Dr. Juice.
Yeah, it's I call it pimp juice now. I know it's Dr. Juice, but I call it pimp juice because if you go by, just look at the bottle. He reminded me of he had the pimp hat on, and man, that stuff worked so good, man. And I'm old school. I'm old school, meaning I try to, if I'm throwing a lure and a fish eat it, I try to stick with that same bait. Some people take it off and put a new one on. Not me. I'm the guy that's got 200 of them in my boat.
Yep.
and I'm still trying to piece this one bite together.
I agree.
So my theory is, I already know if it's going to eat it. The smell on it is right. Everything is right. It produced, so I'm gonna keep using it. And that's one thing I loved about that bomber too, man. I probably caught 12 to 13 fish on one before I had to change it.
Wow.
And so you a lot of those baits out there, 1 or 2 fish. I know some of them 1 fish and it's done. You got to put another one on. So it was pretty awesome, man.
That's what depth were you guys fishing? What type of like structure was it?
It was so what we was, because of the wind, we was drifting. So we was drifting from the shoreline. Now, when I say the shoreline, I run my trolling motor till it hits the bottom, and then I let the wind drift me back off the shoreline and down the shoreline.
Okay.
So we was fishing from 10 inches to 3 foot.
Okay.
I'll drift out until I get in the 3 foot deeper water, then go back up on the edge. And the bigger fish came from the deeper water, which took me 3 days to figure that out too. But all the bigger fish, I got to looking back, I was like, man, every big fish we caught was in deep water, and all the small ones was up along the shoreline.
Were you guys allowed? What were you allowed to do once you finish? Like in turn, you mentioned you couldn't call people and ask for advice. Could you watch the actual like live recording? Could you?
Nope, we couldn't. We couldn't watch what happened for that day. And we couldn't communicate with nobody outside of the tournament, but we could talk to the guys inside. And of course, the guys in the tournament, they're only going to share so much because they're trying to win.
Yep.
So it was the whole time. That was like kind of like wrecking my brain too. Being at the weigh in, and we went in 12, and the other guy come in with 16 pounds. You think, man, what was he doing? You know. But and the guy who won it, Eddie, that man is Eddie Adams. He's like the Jordan of redfish tournaments. This man been doing it for 47 years, and hands down, ain't nobody won more redfish tournaments than this guy.
And isn't he a local? Is he the one that lives nearby there or no?
Yeah, he live in I want to say Homer or Delacroix, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. And he had never won a championship or any kind of redfish tournament away from his home waters. And that was his first one, so big up to him.
That's cool.
But yep. But then the reason he's won so many of them, just about all of the big redfish tournaments, the championships, is always out of Louisiana. So, yep.
Yeah, the reason I asked was funny is that first day, they had on at least on the TV they were showing 4 of you guys at a time, right? Like little blocks, and I think you were in 4th or 5th place, and the guys who won it last year, they were in 1st place at the time. The guys who won it were in 2nd, and the commentators, Captain Rick Murphy was one of them. There's 3 of them. They pointed it out. They said, hey, look, they mentioned you. They're like, hey, the Goodwine, and this guy's like, look, he's like, if you can actually see the bottom, they're in a foot or 2 foot. He's like, they're catching 4-pounders. And it was true. That's about right. And he's like, these other guys, they're in like that 5 to 6. There was a little bit deeper. And so that it was funny. They were literally like saying, here's the game plan, because they could watch it. They had the advantage of seeing everybody.
Yeah.
He's like, that's it. He's like, they're in just slightly deeper to catch those 8, 9 pounders, like the real big ones. So it was interesting.
Yep. Yeah, and we figured that out the last day, and while we was doing our drifts, those potholes, we was throwing in the deeper potholes, catching bigger fish. And then when the tournament was all over and done, that's the first thing my girlfriend told me. She's like, "You should have been fishing deeper water." I'm like, how do you know? Telling me where I should have been fishing. So that's what it was in second place and third place is fishing in deep water. I'm like, oh yeah, she watched it. But
yeah, that's funny, man.
it is what it is. But
so you've obviously grown up fishing Tampa for redfish and are known as like one of the best guides there for consistently catching redfish. What are the big differences and also what are the similarities? Obviously, you can use the same lures that, we fish right near you many times using Slam Shady and it crushes it in Tampa. So we know the lures work. What were some other similarities and other things that maybe threw you off on Texas Reds versus the Tampa Reds?
I mean, they pretty much everything pretty much was the same, except Tampa got the shorelines got more area where the Reds can get like under stuff, like in the bushes, and like our tides get high. Like we have basically you can fish high tide or you can fish low tide in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
To me out there, everything was low tide. Even on high tide, it was low. Like you couldn't pitch bushes, wasn't no bushes to pitch or so. That was the only thing that was different, I think, compared to Tampa. And it was just it's real shallow out there. Like, and everything too, like far as they bays was bigger and like I've seen a big oyster bar. I didn't see a big oyster bar until I got to Texas. They have oyster flats. Like that water was dropped out and it was like far as you could see. Just shells and oysters. So that's about the only thing I've seen different. They had bait, the pilchards out there, was bait diving, birds diving on bait, mullet. It reminded me of home as far as like pods of bait swimming around and everything else. But if you're a high water guy like I am, I like to catch reds on high water. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
What was it like fishing with Brandon, with having a professional bass fisherman?
Yeah, he was cool. I knew we was gonna get along good because we both like the same kind of hip hop music, So I went to his Instagram and I wasn't even concerned about the fish he caught or anything else. I seen one of his videos and he had some good music playing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my guy right here. But those bass guys, the bass guys, what I'm trying to say this the right way. The bass guys, they analyze and observe like everything. That's the way bass guys' minds are working. And it was pretty cool to watch him break things down just the way his mind was constantly thinking on like what the fish doing, what the bait doing. And my mind used to be like that. Now I'm just thinking, y'all need to eat. I'm doing what I need to be doing. Now the fish just need to eat.
You were just thinking, please don't crap my pants on national television.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, and I was thinking, my biggest fear, I lost sleep over it. Once I found out that more people had watched this event than the Bassmaster Classic, I had nightmares, man, thinking that I got skunked. And everybody seen me come to the scales 3 days with no fish. Oh man, that's where a lot of this greyhound came from. Just worried about not bringing fish to the scale. But we pulled it off.
Oh, you guys did awesome. Did the Bass guys bring 12 rods like you see in a lot of their tournaments? They have them all lined up on their floor. Was he switching out stuff all the time?
Yeah, he did. He done that part. He threw his bait caster. He had a bunch of rods, and I was just gonna bring 2 rods because that's all it takes for me.
Yeah.
Give me 2 rods, and the other rod is there just in case the first one break or fall in the water or whatever. And I'm real one-dimensional. I've always been like that. Once you find out what works, I kind of stick with it. And I've always been like that. And I mean, even the guy that won the tournament, they said he do his same routine, and he's been doing it for 40 some years, and it's been producing. It works. And I ain't never been the type to be switching and switching. Like even on my charters, I have a client throw a piece of white bait and catch 3 fish on each cast. And then on the 4th cast, I look back there and he's putting the shrimp on. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just gonna try this. You just caught 3 fish on white bait. Why would you want to change out? But and that drives me crazy. He don't want to fish with anybody. So
I'm interested on the casting because you guys have wind. I assume you were trying to position your boat where you're not casting into it. But what was it like? Could you outcast him because you were using spinning tackle? And I noticed a lot of the redfish guys like you were using spinning gear, and the guys, the bass guys were using what they use. What was that like? Are those guys just so good and done it so long that they're whipping it out there as far as the spinning tackle?
Yeah, he was slinging that spinnerbait as far as I was throwing the spinning tackle, but I was throwing follow because he don't know, but I was competing against him all 3 days on trying to outcast him. He didn't know it, but that's what I was doing. I was getting a good 5 yards, sometimes 10 yards farther than him, but he was probably one of the most accurate casting like fishermen I've ever been around. I'm talking about, well, put it like this. I was eating a Snickers bar and the wrapper fell in the water. And I went to go get it with the trolling on. He was like, no, I got it. He took his bait caster and picks that bait up there, grabbed that Snickers bar paper, bought it right in the boat.
First cast.
It blew my mind. And my hat came off. He did the same thing with the hat. Just perfect. That just the candy bar wrapper, I'm like, he did that. He did it. Bought it right in the boat. So I was like, I forgot this guy's a pro. Right? He's one of the best out there.
Dude, that's a hit.
So, yep.
We fished with Mike Iaconelli. Gosh, it was 2 years ago now, and same thing. Like we're like, all right, we didn't tell him that we're competing, but like he's using his little bait casters, and we're whipping it out further on the flats. But once we hit the docks, dude, I've never seen anything so smooth in my entire life. How with the bait caster, how he was skipping underneath docks in St. Pete area. And I mean, I couldn't have done it in a million years that smooth. And I was like, they've practiced that just so many times. It was
they got it,
smooth.
Man. Yep, the accuracy and the bait, because a lot of they fishing is, especially during spawning season, they got to present that bait quiet as you can get it. You don't want a big splash, and they have to practice it, man. Just like almost like a diver in the Olympics, trying not to make a huge splash. They practice that with baits, and they are good at it. Yeah.
Love it, man. Well, so what were any other learning lessons, things you'll change up for next year? You got to keep them quiet. Make sure you win it in 2023.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm like I said, the only thing I would change up is the throwing the bomber. a Slim Shady.
That's
Yeah,
that next year. That's your thing. You only take 100 pack of bombers and a big old tub of Dr. Juice and say, I'm just going to stick with it and be consistent.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna get me thing, old man problem. Oh, I'm gonna have me a spray bottle, a little tiny spray. I'm gonna put some of that Dr. Juice in a little tiny spray bottle.
Yep.
And just
we got it. We got the bigger one. It's a bigger size with a spray bottle.
Okay.
We'll make it
I
happen.
just got the small one. I got the small one, but and that's it. I'm gonna fish deeper water and try not to make that. I'm gonna try to find some fish a little closer next time. Like the third day we didn't run. Seemed like all the way back to Tampa. It took us an hour to get there.
Oh yeah, if you have 3 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot swells, yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah. We was even without the swells. I mean, it was pretty rough the first day. Not as bad. It's an easy 45-minute run. So I got to talking to the guy who got second, and they had 2 keepers in the boat, two fish in the line before we even started fishing. Cause it took us a little over an hour just to get to where we was going, but that's part of gambling and fishing them tournaments. You got to make them calls sometimes.
Yep. Well, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, where can everyone go follow you? What's the best place? Instagram?
Yes. Instagram, you can follow me at Blackneck Adventures, and Facebook, it's under my name. I can't use Blackneck Adventures. I had Blackneck Adventures about 4 years ago, and I had it since I started Facebook. I mean, I started my Facebook in 2009, and then when the Blackneck Adventures became, I put it on there, and they took my account away and said I couldn't have it back, I guess because of the name. I don't know. So I had to start a new account and leave that off and just use my name. So Facebook kind of got me to where I can't use that as my title name. I guess they thought I was gonna be offending myself because I'm black. I guess. I don't know. So, but yeah, Mike Goodwine on Facebook and Instagram, Blackneck Adventures. I got a YouTube channel, but I post like one video a year, so you could go watch reruns, but I ain't a YouTuber. So. Nothing wrong with YouTube. I ain't a YouTuber. I wish I was. I just ain't got the time.
I understand. Yeah, I remember at one point, I think it was your Instagram. Yeah, but there's Instagram when it said, Blackneck Adventures rated Tampa's #1 black fishing guide, and then it was like ... I'm the only black fishing guide in Tampa.
Yeah, man, I just like to have fun. Even with this tournament. No, I didn't win the tournament, but the guy who won it, the guy who got third, and the guy who got fifth afterwards came up to me and said they can't wait to come to Tampa and fish with me.
That's awesome.
I look like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I was like, yes. And to me, I won. Within myself, like, just trying to make fishing fun, man. Again, just that's my thing. When a lot of people get on the water, they all serious and they just take it way too much serious till it ain't fun. When you get on my boat, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna crack up. We're gonna laugh, and we're gonna catch fish. If we ain't catching fish, you're gonna be laughing and having so much fun. You ain't even gonna know you ain't catching fish.
That's the truth. We've sent a lot of people over to fish with Captain Mike, and everything he said is true. So definitely, if you're ever in the Tampa area, book them. You got to do it in advance, though. It's I know it's tough to get on your calendar sometimes, but definitely book Cap Mike. It is a blast, and the dude catches a lot of fish.
Yeah, and thanks Salt Strong for everything, man. Thank you for everything y'all have helped me with, and I remember when y'all first came on the scene. A lot of people was doubting y'all, and I was even one of the ones. I'm like, I don't get it, and then I got it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I get it now. And that's kind of, you know what? Now that I said, I better make this real quick. Like when I stepped on the scene, some of the people in the industry that had been there before me didn't like me because I was helping people.
Yep.
And I was friendly, and I wasn't the grumpy old captain, and I was anybody I saw, I don't care if they was on the shoreline or I don't care how expensive their boat was, I was trying to help them catch fish. And that's kind of the way I kind of look at y'all too. Y'all stepped on the scene, and y'all have always been about helping anglers become better anglers. Well, some anglers don't like that because they don't want other people to be as good as them.
Yep.
But that's what we out there for, man. We teach and help people. And the same enjoyment we like catching fish, we want to see other people have that same enjoyment instead of trying to keep it all to ourselves.
Absolutely. No, and you crush it on that. And we've that's why we love you from the get-go. And we've done a few things. I mean, we did that little mini course inside the Insider Club. That's one of our most popular ones of all time, man. That was and you bit the head off the bait. that thing has so many comments on it. Oh my gosh.
Yep. And then coming up next year, we got some stuff coming for everybody that's on the Insiders.
Yep.
You got to be part of the Insiders to see it. You ain't going to get it. So tell a friend and tell a friend.
I love it. And that's all at saltstrong.com. Come join us. All right, my friend. Well, I appreciate you big time. I'll let you get back to the hunting camp there and out of the Walmart parking lot. Although you probably had some good people watching opportunities while you're sitting there.
Yeah, I've been sitting here watching people, and they probably watching me sitting out in the middle of the parking lot, like talking, being animated on the phone. And she's looking at me. She's working. So the whole time she's been sitting there chilling.
Dude, that's a hoot. Well, you guys have a blast, man. We appreciate you so much.
Okay, we appreciate y'all too. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, guys.
All right.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was passed down to me from the days of old. Find us on the water if there was a way. It's been said my papa, he wrote the book on catching big reds and 20-pound snook. I wish I knew all the things he knew today. For he's the reason why we are this way. And he put fishing in her soul.